So in this video, I'm going to give you 13 reasons why the opening song of the musical Hamilton is so beautifully poetic. The song is called Alexander Hamilton, and being the opening number, it has the very important job of establishing the world that Alexander Hamilton lives in, and also establishing the musical and lyrical language of the entire show. It's got a lot to do, but it delivers. So if you aren't already familiar with it, Lin-Manuel Miranda's musical is based around the autobiographical book of Alexander Hamilton's life, written by Ron Chernow. In this first song, which lasts just under 4 minutes, Lin-Manuel Miranda has managed to cram in the content of the first 40 pages of Chernow's book, and that's under 600 words. Chernow even said in an interview that it's a bit embarrassing how Lin-Manuel Miranda managed to do that. It's a major feat of editing in the first place, but when you consider everything else that needs to go into this song, such as setting the musical and lyrical language, introducing characters, establishing the world they live in, then wow, it's quite incredible. So how did Lin-Manuel Miranda manage to deliver so much information with such poetic skill into this song, Alexander Hamilton? Well, if you know this song, you'll also be familiar with the third song in the musical, My Shot. And in that song, there is this line, "Give me a position, show me where the ammunition is." And although it's meant literally in the context of taking up arms against the horrible British, it can be compared to his writing. Lin-Manuel Miranda has literally weaponized the English language throughout this musical. Poetry, rhyme, meter, cadence, and literary devices being his ammunition. So let's take a look at some of these poetic weapons now and how they're used in this opening number. So stage right, Burr enters to narrate. How does a bastard, orphan, son of a whore and a Scotsman, dropped in the middle of a forgotten spot in the Caribbean by Providence, impoverished in squalor, grow up to be a hero and a scholar? Okay, so that's one long, bitter rhetorical question, which is a great rhetorical device. You sense Burr is not happy with Hamilton's rise to the top, and rhetoric has been used to underline the importance of his point. But there's more in there than just that. Notice how Burr lists all of Hamilton's attributes that he finds detestable. They're the reasons why he thinks Hamilton should never have had the right to become a hero or a scholar. So he lists bastard, orphan, son of a whore, Scotsman. Two things stand out here for me. First, the 4 items listed spell out the word boss, bastard, orphan, son of a whore, Scotsman, and that might be coincidence, but it's clever, even if it is unintentional. Second, this lists the qualities in order of importance to Burr, from bastard child right through to the worst thing he could possibly be in Burr's eyes, an immigrant. As a device, this is called Auxisis, where the writer arranges the words or clauses with increasing force or importance to emphasize the point. The next device that I want to highlight here is the wonderful use of Enjambment. This is the running over of one line into another without punctuation. It's used twice in this first verse alone. How does a bastard, orphan, son of a whore and a Scotsman dropped in the middle of a forgotten spot in the Caribbean by Providence, impoverished in squalor? There's no punctuation between a and Scotsman or forgotten and spot. They sit on different lines. And it's used again later in the song. Planning for the future, see him now as he stands on the bow of a ship heading for a new land. Enjambment is used in poetry to propel the reader on and can have the effect of lifting the pace of the writing. In both cases, it's used to keep the narrative flowing and add some urgency. There's also the use of assonance, which is the repetition of vowel sounds without repeating consonants. So in the first line, we have orphan and whore. So the assonance there is the or sound, and it also picks out the or in forgotten. If we take the O sound, there's actually a ton of assonance going on. Scotsman, dropped, forgotten, spot, Providence, impoverished, squalor. Assonance is used a lot in rap lyrics. And the fact that this song crams a ton of assonance in is a way of Miranda telling us that the musical and lyrical language of the show is going to include a lot of rap, a lot of hip hop. I won't go into all the uses of assonance, but there is a lot there. Internal rhyme is another poetic device used by rap artists frequently. There's a lot in this musical. Internal rhyme is where the rhyme occurs within the line rather than at the end of one line going into the next. So there's internal rhymes which occur in the same lines and those which cross over into other lines. So here are some same line internal rhymes. Then a hurricane came and devastation reigned. When he was 10, his father split, full of it, debt-ridden. Left him with nothing but ruined pride, something new inside. Started working, clerking for his late mother's landlord. An example of an internal rhyme being carried over from one line into the next is this. And he wrote his first refrain, a testament to his pain. So that's the last line of verse 4 and has its own internal rhyme. But if you look at the first line of verse 5, which goes, well, the word got around, they said this kid is insane, man. So we have refrain, pain, and insane as the internal rhymes, and insane is on the next line, which is the next verse. There's imperfect rhyme, that's another thing, sometimes called near rhyme or slant rhyme. This is where words have similar but not identical sounds. It can be used to make a rhyme much more interesting and clever. Not only that, but reduce the risk of cliche. In this first verse, we have Scotsman, dropped in, forgotten, spotting. So that's 4 of those near rhymes. And it appears again with the line, the cousin committed suicide, left him with nothing but ruined pride, something new inside. So that's 3 imperfect rhymes really close together, suicide, ruined pride, new inside. It's really nice. It also includes some internal rhyme too to add tension and pace. Of course, if there's imperfect rhyme, there's always going to be perfect rhyme too. And perfect rhyme is more the mainstay of musical theatre lyrics in general. So we have things like scholar and squalor, smarter, self-starter, charter. But he even uses, Lin-Manuel Miranda even uses a clever use of perfect rhyme to shake things up. Verse 1 ends with the word scholar and is picked out with a perfect internal rhyme in the first line of verse 2. Grow up to be a hero and a scholar, the $10 founding father without a father. So it's another example of internal rhyme too, crossing over from one line to the next. At this point, John Laurens has picked up the mantle of narrator from Burr, and to seamlessly continue, he rhymes with what Burr signed off with and calls Hamilton the $10 founding father. And this is another device called allusion. Allusion is referencing a person, place, or thing of historical, cultural, literary, or political significance. In this case, the allusion is to the fact that Hamilton is the face on the current $10 bill. There's a lot of allusions throughout this entire musical because it turns out that Lin-Manuel Miranda loves to nod his cap to some of his rap and musical theatre heroes, and here's a few. In My Shot, Burr sings, "You got to be carefully taught," which references Rodgers and Hammerstein's South Pacific, which coincidentally is about racism. So the fact that My Shot is exploring equality, it's a great parallelism there. In the same song, Hamilton raps, "Only 19, but my mind is older." This is allusion referencing Mobb Deep. Later in the song, Hamilton and his friends spell out his name. I am the ALEXAND, we are meant to be. This alludes to the notorious B.I.G. song, Going Back to Cali. In Right Hand Man, George Washington sings, I'm the model of a modern Major General, which is an allusion referencing Gilbert and Sullivan's Pirates of Penzance. And there are plenty more where they came from, but that's just enough to show the power of allusion as a literary device and how Lin-Manuel Miranda loves to throw it in. So I just want to backtrack a moment to verse 2 to cover a few more devices in there. The $10 founding father without a father. Got a lot farther by working a lot harder. Okay, so here we have the word father used 3 times. Twice it has the same meaning, but the other is to mean something else. This is called a homophonic pun, where the words sound the same but have different meanings. It's used to be amusing or simply just to be clever. It's used again in the musical and in the song You'll Be Back, where King George riffs on the word subject, where he sings, and no, don't change the subject, 'cause you're my favourite subject, my sweet submissive subject, my loyal royal subject. So 2 different meanings of the word subject played with there. Okay, so back to verse 2. It concludes this way. By being a lot smarter, by being a self-starter, by 14, they placed him in charge of a trading charter. This is anaphora, where a word or words are repeated at the beginning of successive lines or clauses. It's used to be persuasive and underline the point. Okay, let's just finish off with a few more really quickly. There's the use of hyperbole, which put simply is exaggeration. So when Hamilton says, there's a million things I haven't done, but just you wait. It's hyperbole in action. I mean, he's not literally going to do a million things. So he is exaggerating, so it's hyperbolic. And that line, just you wait, is the quite arrogant refrain or leitmotif which he throws out to anyone who will listen, it seems, throughout the musical. And this is called hubris, which is extreme pride or arrogance, which ultimately brings about the character's downfall, as was the case for Alexander Hamilton. We have personification in there too. America is personified with the lines, "When America sings for you," and "America forgot him." Here, the nation of America has been made into a person with voice and mind. There's more use of rhetorical questions. Will they know what you overcame? Will they know you rewrote the game? And there's even more in there, but at some point I needed to stop playing the Hamilton soundtrack and get on with some other things. So whether you want to write rap, pop, rock, musical, theatre, blues, R&B, whatever, devices like these can make your lyrics sing and work beautifully. Sometimes we use these devices without even knowing that we're using them. We don't know their names, we just know they work and that they sound good. But it can be useful to put a name to their face and be more conscious of them and how they work. And if you don't know, now you know. See you all soon.